Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Geeky Abhishek once again from here in Dallas, Texas, and I did set up my Vivoactive 4 and used it for more than a month. Close to 2 months now before making this part of the video so that I could give you an in-depth impressions about this watch. And I'm going to compare this watch with the Garmin Vivoactive 3, which was the watch that inspired me to upgrade to the Vivoactive 4. So if you want to see that comparison, then stay tuned. I'm going to do that now before I move into the detailed review of the Vivoactive 4 because that's going to take quite a bit of time. So let's put these two watches side by side. So what I have here is the Vivoactive 4, the 45 millimeter watch. The Vivoactive 4 comes in two different sizes. So the one is the Vivoactive 4S, that's 40 millimeters, and then with an 18 millimeter quick release band, and then you have the regular Vivoactive 4, which is a 45 millimeter watch with 22 millimeter quick release bands. Now the both the watches, the Vivoactive 4 as well as the Vivoactive 4S, they are identical in terms of functionality, and there's only one variant. So both the watches support onboard music storage up to 500 songs from Deezer or Spotify, and you can pair your Bluetooth earbuds with the watch and you can listen to music while you are working out. Now it also both the 4S as well as the regular 4 has Garmin Pay, so you should be able to store payment method. So when it comes to the Vivoactive 3, there were three different variants, but they were only one single size, which is 43 millimeters with a 20 millimeter quick release band. So you had the regular Vivoactive 3, and then you had the Vivoactive 3 Music, which same thing, 500 songs onboard storage, and then you had a Verizon exclusive Vivoactive 3, which also had LTE in it. Now let's talk about the pricing. So the Vivoactive 4 is a newer upgraded version of the Vivoactive 3. So when this was launched, it was actually between 350 to 400 depending where we were looking. Right now Garmin has the lowest price for the Vivoactive 4. So you can get it for $250 or even less. I think it was the least that I saw was 235 on Amazon. I got this on Amazon Prime Day deal and it was $200. So that's why I decided to get it, because every other place it was at least between 300 to 350. So the Vivoactive 3 has been out for quite a bit now, so it the price varies around. For the non-music version with just Garmin Pay, it's about $120, and if you wanna get the music edition, the one with the music, it would cost you around $150. But since it has been out there for quite a bit of time, you can actually find some refurbished ones directly from Garmin. So basically manufacturer or factory refurbished with full warranty, or even 2 years of warranty, which is like 1 year additional than the regular watches, for about $100 or less. So I got this from GPS Nation and it was refurbished, but it was Garmin refurbished, and it came with 2 years of warranty, and I got it for $70. Now the Vivoactive 4 at $200 with taxes was almost three times the price of the two. So is it worth upgrading from a Vivoactive 3 to a Vivoactive 4 with that kind of a price difference? But let's talk about the battery life now. So Garmin claims the Vivoactive 3 to have 7 days of battery life in regular smartwatch mode and 13 hours in GPS. For the Vivoactive 4, Garmin says it gets 8 days on smartwatch mode. It gets 6 hours with GPS with music, and with 18 hours with GPS without no music. But in real life, I think the both these Vivoactive 3 as well as the Vivoactive 4 has very close battery life. So what I mean to say is, realistically I'm getting about 3 to 4 days with the Vivoactive 4, and I was getting the same or similar battery life, about 3 to 4 days, on the Vivoactive 3 as well. So if you are looking to upgrade from a Vivoactive 3 to a Vivoactive 4 just because you think the Vivoactive 4 is gonna get better battery life, don't do it. The watches are almost identical when it comes to battery life. You can turn off the SpO2 sensor on the Vivoactive 4. It will save you some battery, but that battery saving is not significant enough to even add a day. Maybe you will get half a day or like one night, so you will get about 3.5 days of battery life if you turn that SpO2 off, versus if you keep it turned on, you'll probably get around 3 days. Now, in terms of the front glasses, both are Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so in terms of durability, they are the same. In terms of the build material or construction, both are fiber reinforced polymer. The only difference is in the Vivoactive 4 has all fiber reinforced polymer even on the back, but the Vivoactive 3 had a stainless steel bezel. Now, for the front side, even though this is slate, both of these are actually made of stainless steel for that durability, so you should be fine. If you bump your watch against something, stainless steel is pretty strong. Now, in terms of the display size on the Vivoactive 4, the 45mm watch actually gets a bump. So it's 1.3 inches with pixel density of 260 by 260. The one on the Vivoactive 3 is 1.2 inches with pixel density of 240 by 240. The Vivoactive 4 is also slightly heavier at around 51 grams versus the 43 grams on the Vivoactive 3. So I prefer the lighter watch because if you are wearing this as an activity tracker to track all your daily workouts, like all day workouts, your sleep, then you're wearing it all the time. So any amount of weight, the heavier the watch, the more uncomfortable it gets. The lighter the watch, the easier to wear it. In terms of waterproofing, both the watches, you can use them for shallow swimming, so it supports water resistant up to 5 atmospheric pressures. Both these watches have all the three sensors, so you have GPS, GLONASS, and Galileo. Both watches have barometric altimeter, compass, accelerometer, thermometer. The Vivoactive 4 has Wi-Fi, so it has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, as well as ANT plus. The Vivoactive 3 just has ANT plus and Bluetooth. So what ANT plus does is, it's very important because compared to the other watches, there are very few watches that actually support that. So you should be able to connect to external heart rate monitors like chest straps, or if you are on a spin bike, or any other kind of gym equipment which supports ANT plus, you should be able to connect to that. Even like cadence sensors, speed sensors for bikes, you should be able to connect and get the data displayed on the watch. So now let's talk about some other obvious differences. So the Vivoactive 4 ditches the side swipe feature from the Vivoactive 3, where it has a touch sensitive side and you could swipe in lieu of a 2-button layout. So basically what you get is, this is your select button and this is your back button, and then you scroll up and down and left to right. It also loses the tap and hold feature that the Vivoactive 3 used to have. So definitely having an extra button on the Vivoactive 4 is kind of helpful to start or stop an activity. But I do miss the side swipe as well as the gesture, because I thought it was more intuitive to tap and hold. So the navigation in the Vivoactive 4 is slightly different than what you get in the Vivoactive 3. So it's not a major nuance. It's just like there is a little bit of learning curve coming from the Vivoactive 3 to the Vivoactive 4. Now there are a few other things that I have observed. Okay, so the Vivoactive 4 definitely feels a little bit faster when you swipe through the menus and stuff. That doesn't mean the Vivoactive 3 is slow, but obviously since the Vivoactive 4 is a newer version, seems like with an upgraded processor and stuff, so it feels slightly a tad faster. But that doesn't mean that the Vivoactive is slow. Both of the watches are very usable, and there is no issue in terms of the operating speed. Now there are a few other differences that I want to point out. So the Vivoactive 4 is more expensive. So what do you get? So basically you get the 4 LED newer upgraded elevated heart rate sensor, which includes SpO2 sensor, which is basically able to monitor your blood oxygen level. The Vivoactive 3 has these the 3 LED, the older sensor, and no SpO2 sensor, just your heart rate. But both these watches have VO2 max, which is a different measurement. That's your basically measurement of how efficiently your body can utilize the oxygen. That's different than your blood oxygen level, which is your SpO2 sensor. So if you're looking for an SpO2 sensor, then you have to go for the Vivoactive 4 versus the Vivoactive 3. Now there's another difference that I want to point out. So if you look sideways, as you see, the sensor on the Vivoactive 4 kind of bulges out, versus this is more flush on the Vivoactive 3. So Garmin says that this makes it more accurate for measurements when it's sitting against your, when it's bulging, so it's making more tighter contact with your skin. But I want to show you something. So if you wear this watch all the time, can you see the dimple here? So the same dimple from the sensor is on my wrist, which I don't know if that will have any problems in the long run. So other than that, in terms of features, it's all the watches are identical. Everything else, both the watches have live track capabilities. Both the watches let you connect to Garmin IQ, and then have download customizable apps on watch faces, and it also lets you create custom workouts and then sync it to your watches. So those things are available in both. So now in short, I would say, to me, if you are a serious athlete and you need, so last but not the least, and one other difference between the Garmin Vivoactive 3 and the 4 is the Vivoactive 3 is able to display 4 data fields in a single screen, and the Vivoactive 3 is only limited to 2. So if you are doing some kind of a spin biking, for example Peloton, and you want to see your speed, you just want to see your cadence, calories burned, and the time lapse, or your heart rate per se, you will be able to fit all those 4 data elements on a single screen on the Vivoactive 4. The Garmin Vivoactive 3 is only limited to having 2 data fields in a single screen. You can still see the other data, you just have to swipe. I know it isn't a major deal breaker, but it's a matter of convenience, and if you are into any kind of activity or sport like Peloton, where you want to see, it's just more convenient to have all the data in a single screen and at one glance. But overall, so my conclusion is that if you are not any kind of a serious athlete who is professionally training and need a Garmin more expensive $600 or $800 Garmin Fenix watches or a Forerunner watch, then definitely go ahead and upgrade to a Vivoactive 4 for 200-250 bucks. But if you are just a casual user and you just want to keep track of your daily steps and sleep and casual workouts at the gym or run, then the Vivoactive 3 at half or one third the price is more than sufficient and recommended. If you can live without the onboard music storage and you don't care about the SpO2 sensor, I don't really see a reason for which I would want to upgrade, even given that paying twice the money to just get onboard music storage and SpO2 sensor, it's not worth it for me. But to each on its own. If you think those are essential for you, go ahead and upgrade. Now let's take a quick look at the different settings menus on the Vivoactive 4. So the Vivoactive 4 has the same technology, trans-reflective in-memory display, so basically uses the external light. So the good part is that the screen gets brighter when the outside, if you are in bright daylight or sunlight. But bad part is if it is in a darker environment, it uses this bluish backlit, and the screen kind of looks, the resolution of the screen kind of doesn't look that smooth. It looks a little bit grainier. Now if you press and hold the top button, it brings you this menu. So first one is my wallet, that's Garmin Pay, then my Spotify, phone connection, my GPS, this is do not disturb mode, and this is connectivity if the watch is connected to the Bluetooth or not, and then my stopwatch and timer, and what was that, this is screen brightness, and it's lock, you can lock the screen with a password, and then your power button. If you quickly press, it gives you the list of workouts that you want to do. So I have only few because those are the ones that I am doing, and if you hit those buttons you can go through more. So basically every kind of sport that you can imagine on earth is there, and if it's not there, you are able to go to Garmin Connect IQ, create your custom workout, and push it and sync it to your store. Then you can go here and, like as you see, add more. Now if you press and hold, it doesn't do anything, so you have to press the rear button, press and hold. So that takes you to the settings. So the first option is all the inbuilt watch faces. So this is one thing that I noticed in the Vivoactive 4. Scrolling through the watch faces is kind of sluggish and it lags a little bit. Like look now, it took so much time to switch between the watch faces. I didn't face the same thing on the Vivo Active 3. And then the other weird thing is once you select a watch face, it goes back to this home and there is no way to go back. You have to again press and hold and start over to go back to where you were. The next option is clocks. First option is alarms, then you have stopwatch, timer, and then the option for time. So you can select whether it's 24 hours versus 12 hours. Then you can select your time source and then the regular time. Now if you go back, and then you have history. So basically history gives you the summary of your workouts this week. Then records gives you the summary of all the activities. Then totals basically gives a summary of the totals. And then options lets you delete all the activities as well as reset the totals. Now if you scroll further down, you have those gear icon and then takes you to the main menu. So the first thing that you see is the activities and apps. So these are called the widgets. So you can hold this and move it. So this is basically the same order in which when I press this activity button, that's the order in which these things show up. If I go back up, then I have the widgets. This is the order in which I see the different information on my watch screen. I'm gonna show that to you in a bit. So if I go back, and then you have controls menu is basically all the controls that I showed you earlier. And then you have shortcuts, so basically lets you customize your shortcuts. So controls menu, shortcut, and you can select what your music controls would do, and all these settings. Now then you go back to watch faces. We already seen that. Heart rate. With heart rate, you can select the status as to auto, or you can set it as off. You can enable abnormal heart rate alerts. You can also have broadcast on and off, and then you have the pulse ox. So pulse ox has these options, so you can already do it as all day, or you can do it during the sleep. So if you keep it on all day, that's usually uses significant amount of battery, and you have to charge this watch every 3 days at max. If you just keep it on for sleep, then you get an additional half a day, so you should be able to get 3.5 to 4 days. If you completely turn that off, then this watch will last about 5 days. Now the next one is the sensors. So basically these are the sensors, like I have a cadence sensor and a speed sensor, so those are the ones that are showing up. Then I have music, so basically gives you options to select your music provider, pair up your headphones, and then you have a stereo and a mono mode. Then you have your phone, so basically shows the status that it's still connected to my phone, the notifications, and there's connected alerts. So that basically means if any point in time my phone disconnects or my watch disconnects from my phone, I get the notification that it's now disconnected. So if I'm forgetting my phone somewhere, I would know that I'm going out of the Bluetooth range from the phone. Then you have the pair phone option, and then sync basically syncs the data from the watch to your Garmin Connect account. Then you have the Wi-Fi. So since this watch has a Wi-Fi, when you sync music, it's a lot faster because it uses the Wi-Fi network to download those songs. You have the ability to turn it on or off. If you turn the Wi-Fi off, it also helps in saving the battery life, but it's not any significant, again, like probably few hours to half a night, so I keep it just on. And the other thing is, if you turn it on, if you keep it on, then the watch can also automatically push the data to your Garmin account. You don't have to go to Garmin Connect app on your phone and then manually sync it. Then you have user profile. That's basically my VO2 max, gender, birth year, and all that stuff. Then safety and tracking, this is incident detection. So basically the watch can detect if I was working out or cycling, I fell, and it will send SOS alert. So that's where the assistance is. And then you can figure the emergency contact. And then live track is also similar. It's just like your live location sharing. If you go out working at night or cycling, and if your family members wants to keep a track of that, if you enable this, they would be able to see in the Garmin app your current location. For this to work, however, you need to carry your cell phone because it uses the data from the cell phone to broadcast that data. Now you have is activity tracking. So basically I have the status on. Then move alerts. If you are idle for a certain amount of time, then the watch will ask you to move. And then you can also have goal alerts, and then auto start activity. So that's basically, if you turn this on, if you start walking, or the watch will automatically detect the activity and start accounting for it. This is another thing that literally eats the battery a lot. If I turn this on, I get significantly less number of days on a single charge versus if I keep it turned off. Then intensity minutes is based on the total amount of minutes that you have been active. You can turn that on. Then you have system. So basically your auto lock is off. Then you have your language selection. Then you have your time selection. We have already gone through your date selection and your backlit selection. So it's turned on. Brightness is 30%. And then I have a timeout with medium, and then you have some options for gesture. So basically what it means is when you flick your wrist, the watch will sense that and it will automatically turn on the backlit. See, like as you can see, so if the sensitivity is set to low, so if you want, if it's not working, you can set that to high. Now then go back. What you have is the physio tune up, true up. So basically it collects all the data from your different workouts and uses that data to reflect your physical workout status on the Garmin Connect website. You can do a lot of analysis based on that. Vibration is basically how the intensity of the vibration this watches when you get an alert. Then you can also set it to do not disturb. So for me, I don't want to get notifications on my watch during my sleep, so I have turned that from 12 a.m. to 7:30. It do not disturb gets automatically enabled. Then units, you can select between imperial or metric. And your data recording, it's always set to smart. If you do it every second, it's again gonna significantly reduce your battery life. Then USB media mode. So the only time you need that is because if you make a custom workout and you want to push it to your watch, then you need to connect this watch via USB on your phone with the Garmin Connect app, and then it will sync and then you have the reset option. So basically resets the watch to factory settings. Then software updates. So this is another advantage of having Wi-Fi on this watch. So what happens is, if there is an app update and the watch is connected to Wi-Fi, the watch by itself can download and install the update to the Wi-Fi network without having to use the phone. Now then you have about, which just basically tells you which just basically tells you all these different information. So that's pretty much everything on this watch, and there's few negatives that I talked about. So one is when you go to the settings and try to switch between the watch faces, there's a slight bit of delay in choosing that, and then overall UI navigation is kind of a little bit wonky because it doesn't do the tap and hold and then go into the settings. So each time you might exit out of so once you select a watch face, you might have to go back and start all over again, press and hold, and then go to settings and do whatever you was doing. The other thing that I noticed was the difference in the GPS lock speed between the Vivoactive 4 and the Vivoactive 3. I mean, both the watches have similar sensors, but the Vivoactive 4 is newer, so I expected this watch to actually get a lock faster than the Vivoactive 3. But guess what? In most of the tests that I did, when I started an activity, the Vivoactive 4 was actually, very like a second or two slower than the Vivoactive 3 to get a GPS lock on that. I don't know if that is a problem with all the Vivoactive 4 or just this particular unit, but every time I tested it, it was my Vivoactive 3 always won in terms of the speed in which it gets the GPS lock versus the Vivoactive 4. Guys, I'm outside and I'm going to try to demonstrate the GPS lock times for the Vivoactive 3 versus the Vivoactive 4. So I'm going to just enable the walk mode and see how long it takes for each watch to lock in. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the walk. So I started the Vivoactive 4 first, but look, the Vivoactive 3 has already locked on, and the Vivoactive 3 is the 4 is at least around 10 seconds slower. There's few things I still want to show. So notifications. So this is basically how the notifications look. So this is my email. So I'm getting, so you can read the entire email, and then you have these options where you scroll further down and you hit that, you have dismiss, delete, archive, reply, or block app, and you can go back. Now if you scroll through, this is my notification widget, and then this is my day. So that's where also the settings that I was showing. So it's basically telling me all the my summary of my day, and then this is my weather widget, and then this is my heart rate, and this is my health stat, this is my calendar, this is my history, and this is my music control, and then this is my last 8 hours of body battery, and then my hydration meter. And then, so if I scroll from the top, it's just the same thing, it just cycles to the same thing, and you can change the order of these widgets from the settings menu or from the Garmin Connect app. Now time for conclusions. So I would say, when I got the Garmin Vivoactive 3, I was thoroughly impressed with the how good the watch was, mainly because I was coming from the Fossil Generation 5 watch, which has really bad battery life. It just lasts about a day, if that. But coming back to the, coming to a Garmin Vivoactive 3 from that watch was kind of a game changer. It would last, 3 to 4 days on a single charge, and in spite of, tracking my workouts. So, I mean, the Fossil Gen 5 was nowhere close to it. I would go on a walk for an hour, and sometimes the Fossil Gen 5, even though it was fully charged, will probably die because of the amount of battery usage on that. The Garmin never did that. So and then everything that the Garmin Vivoactive 3 recorded, like all the data points, all the analysis, my all day steps, all day heart rates, all my workouts, my VO2 max, and then as well as my fitness age, my recovery time. So I felt that was like, if you are into fitness and you're not looking for a smartwatch, then Garmin definitely wins the game hands down on that. I also had the Galaxy Active 2, which was kind of in between, but it was highly inaccurate, both in outdoor tracking in terms of GPS as well as indoor tracking. It wasn't that good. Battery life was definitely better than the Fossil Gen 5, but not as good as the Garmin. So overall, if I was to conclude, I would say, the Vivoactive 4, if this watch at like almost triple, double or triple the price of Vivoactive 3, it's not worth it. I would still go ahead and buy the Vivoactive 3, unless you have a specific need to have the SpO2 sensor or those 4 data fields. So if you don't need that, you will be totally happy with the Vivoactive 3. That's all, guys. That's pretty much everything for this Vivoactive 4 review. If you have any questions, comments, do leave them down below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Also, don't forget to support my channel, so do hit the like button as well as subscribe to my channel, and share all these reviews with your friends and family, and ask them to like my videos as well as subscribe to my channel. I will also see you guys in the next video, so stay tuned for more updates, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, bye.